Hey everyone, Marcus here from the Ashland Fly Shop. And today we're going to talk about our Hot Hare Kit, which we just came out with. And it's a really great kit that allows you to tie our Hot Hare fly in 3 different colors up to 10 patterns. And this fly is a really great fall and winter steelhead fly when they're hanging in soft water. So follow along as we tie this fly right now. And today we're tying on the OPST chuck, which is a really nice tool for holding all of your different intruder shanks in the vise. Nice thing about this little shank from OPST is that it doesn't have any wraparound around the eye, so it allows you to fit really small cones and beads, which for small flies like this, it's pretty much imperative. We start with a thin thread base going through the back. Snip that guy off. And then we're using Senyo's thin intruder wire. And this thin stuff, it just really adds to what we're trying to do with this fly, which is a small profile, easy to tie. It's one of those flies, when you're fishing the run, you really don't want to be worried about hanging up. And if you do, you're not worried about losing this fly. That's a big part of tying simple flies for fall and winter steelhead. And really, as far as you tie this back is as long as you want your overall fly length to be. Somewhere in between 1 and 2 inches is a good distance. You'll just wrap your thread forward on top of those 2 strands of wire, flip them 180, and wrap backwards along the back of the shank. And then those little tag ends we can cut at the very end of the fly. Next thing we use here is just a little bit of Light Bright, super easy material to tie with. Basically, we just pull off a few fine strands. And you can do this as heavy or as trim as you want. The only thing that you have to think about is that you have to keep enough Light Bright to tie on the tail and to wrap forward throughout the body. So you're just going to start with a few light thread wraps to secure everything down. Should lay over the hook. Then you'll come on the other side of it, wrap forward to where you'll tie in the rabbit. And this stuff, I just like to twist it up into a nice, basically like how we would do our dubbing on any other fly. And the only thing that you got to think about as you're doing this is you just want these wraps to be nice and tight, consistent, have an even body. And as you get up towards the head, build that head up a little bit, because all that's going to do, it's going to help support that rabbit that we'll be tying in next. And you want that rabbit to have a little bit of life, a little bit of prop to it. So supporting that with some extra Light Bright is a really good idea. And that's a little bit longer than we want it, so I'm just going to trim it down, get that hook out the back. Today we're doing a Black Hot Hare, and so we have Black Rabbit right here. We're also outfitting this kit with olive and with the crawdad color, which all of those really for fall steelhead in natural colors, you can't get a lot better than olive and some type of brown color. It's about as good as it gets. For the rabbit strip, you want it to be somewhere in between 2 and 3 inches, just depending on how long you want the fly to be. Just tie everything in. Just a couple thread wraps really to secure it, and then your last one, you just want to pull down extra and make sure everything's in there nice and tight. The last step of this fly is just a little bit of orange guinea. And you can do this one of 2 ways. You can either peel back the guinea from one side or just leave. I tend to like to leave both sides of the guinea intact. I just peel away all of this extra fuzz off the back of it, because that's pretty much not going to be needed for this fly. And you want to tie in all feathers like this. You want them to be tied in at the tip. Just conscious of not trying to get too much of this feather on this fly, because it is a pretty small fly. Just going to do a few quick thread wraps right here. Snip that guy off. Grab it right there, and you do want to make sure that those are all laying somewhat flat before you make that first wrap. Pull your feathers back, make sure everything's laying down nice and straight. And just get it as close to that bead as you can without coming up on top of it. That's a really important thing as you're building flies. You want to leave the proper amount of space right behind that bead. Just gonna snip that. You can finish off your flies a couple ways. You can wrap a little thread. I usually like to keep them pretty trim, so I'll just do a few light thread wraps, and then boom, 2 whip finishes and I'm done. I usually do 4 or 5 turns on my whip finish, pull it tight, snip it loose, and then you really want to just pull everything back, make it nice and straight, and boom, there's your hot hair fly. So thanks a lot for following along as we tied the AFS Hot Hare Fly. It's a really effective and a simple fly to tie, really for fall steelhead and getting into winter steelhead when they hang in soft water. It's one of my go-to patterns, so we hope you enjoy the AFS Hot Hare Kit.